Jingly Pants, is that you?
Yeah.
We're supposed to have an interview right now.
Let's do it then. Teach me all about fats.
Okay. So, when we eat fats, when we eat triglycerides, they are passed to our stomach. Our stomach can't do much with them, so then they get passed even further down our digestive tract to the first part of our small intestine, which is the duodenum. Here, the triglycerides start mixing with pancreatic lipase, where the pancreatic lipase enzyme is able to cleave the triglyceride from the carbon 1 and the carbon 3 position. Also in the duodenum are bile salts, where the bile salts and the triglycerides are able to emulsify and turn into micelles. Once they turn into micelles, they are able to travel to the epithelial cells of the villi. Once they get in these cells, they are condensed back with glycerol and mix with lipoproteins and form chylomicrons. Once they form this chylomicron, they are then able to leave and travel through the lymph and our circulatory system. And depending on what state we're on, if we're fasted versus if we're fed, do different things happen with these triglycerides. So if we are in a fed state, the triglycerides get stored as fat in adipocytes. And if we're in a fasted state, we have to be able to access this fat for energy. So a hormone has to be signaled, has to be released. So a hormone like adrenaline has to be released. It binds to a receptor on the adipocyte. This activates adenylyl cyclase. Oh my gosh, so this like a real interview, I'm blanking here. We activate adenylyl cyclase. This forms cyclic AMP. Once cyclic AMP forms, it activates protein kinase A, which phosphorylates and activates the triglycerol lipase. This starts breaking down the triglyceride again. So now we have our fatty acids. The fatty acids are able to leave and the glycerol stays. So the fatty acid leaves the cell and it is now bound to albumin. It's traveling through the cytosol, and before it can cross the mitochondria, it has to be activated first. And it gets activated by becoming fatty acyl-CoA. Even with it being activated and is now fatty acyl-CoA, it still can't cross the membrane. So it has to interact with carnitine. So carnitine and the fatty acyl-CoA have to cross across the first membrane of the mitochondria. They interact with carnitine acyl transferase. Once they interact, they now get bound together and become O-acylcarnitine. Now they're in the inner membrane space of the mitochondria. They have to interact with carnitine acyl translocase. Now they're in the matrix and they interact with O-acylcarnitine reacts with carnitine acyl transferase 2 again, and it breaks them apart. It breaks the carnitine off, and we have our fatty acyl-CoA in the matrix of the mitochondria. So now we can start breaking it down to get the energy we need. So beta oxidation starts happening. We have a 16 carbon fatty acid. We go through 7 cycles of beta oxidation we make 7 NADH, we make 7 FADH2, and we make 8 acetyl CoA. Acetyl CoA can go into the TCA cycle and pump more electron carriers itself. But from this cycle, breaking down the fatty acid alone, we made 7 NADH, 7 FADH. All of those are our electron carriers, which go into the electron transport chain and pump electrons through the complex to produce ATP synthase. That is how we get, and in total we make 129 ATP just from one fatty acid. So that is what happens when we eat triglycerides and what happens when we're in a fasted state versus when we are in a fed state. Thank you for your consideration. I hope you hire me here at Big Pharma.